All right, we are recording. So, welcome everybody to Power Hour. Appreciate you all being on. We are here on Thursday, November the 1st. Hope you all had a fantastic finish to October. We're going to got quite a bit of things that I was kind of inspired today, and had quite a bit that I wrote down that I wanted to share. So we'll spend a vast majority of the day going over that. And then for the end, we'll have a little time for some questions, depending on how quick I get through this. And then one thing I wanted to remind everybody, I mentioned this last time, is make sure you get yourself subscribed to the YouTube channel. So if you'll simply go to youtube.com, and when that pulls up, go into the search area and then type in Casey Salgi, you'll be able to find me on there. And there'll be a red subscribe button. And with that, you'll be able to click on that. And then there, anytime I post anything new, you'll get a notification of that. And as well as you'll be able to look at any old Power Hours. So I know that not all of the Power Hours have made it onto the Power Hour webpage. That one's just gotten unwielding. So that's the best way for you to be able to get a hold of the Power Hour videos. Now, you might be interested in those Power Hour videos because go ahead and make a quick announcement here is that tonight is going to be my last Power Hour for some time. I don't know the exact amount of time on that, but I am going to hold off on Power Hours for the next little bit. For those that don't know, baby number 4 is arriving at any moment. So Carrie's getting in bed, so hopefully not tonight, but hopefully she is due on Monday. We got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes and what they give us for next steps. But good chance that I will be out of pocket for that. Also, it's good from time to time to take a break and let the field rest, if you will. So if you're out planting crops all the time, sometimes you need to let that rest for a little bit. There's plenty of content. I've been going on this thing for 1 year straight, and I think we've had 2 every single week since last year. So it's been a long run of these, and I want to take a little break on that, mainly just to have that time. So that's what we're going to do. Power Hour will be back. Don't get me wrong. It will absolutely be back. And I also want it to be something where everybody has a little break on, and it's like, oh man. And hopefully, there's a lot of value. And a lot of people are going to say, wait a second, I jumped on, because people get in a groove. They expect it always going to be there. And I don't want that to be the case. I don't want Power Hour to be mundane and boring and the same old thing. I want it to be special every single time. And so we're going to let it set for a little bit, make sure everybody gets out there and tells everybody, like, look, when this thing starts back up, you definitely want to be on it. If you were getting value, then be able to do that. So, Velma, I appreciate that. I also want to see the numbers grow. We've been hovering around 20 people. We'll bounce up to 25, 26 here and there. But I'll be honest with you, my expectations would we be in triple digits at this point. And that just needs to be us getting the word out more and more, and you guys getting that word out with me so that we can do that. So we'll take a break when that comes up. There'll be a little bit more excitement coming back in and getting it going again. But I do want to thank you guys for being here, because without y'all, this thing, it'd be really weird for me just recording myself looking at this and nobody else to look at and smile at, and that would be weird. So thank you guys for making this what it's been. And also make sure you get the word out so everybody knows that, look, there's a lot of content that's out there. Every single one of those has got gold in them. So if people are looking for something, go watch some of those. I had Dr. Jackie had just sent a text out, said, "Hey, that was really awesome to be able to see the video. I hadn't seen it in a little bit, and just rewatching something just kind of rebuilds that. It's like, man, we got something pretty darn special here with the Kyani business model. So, all right, so a couple of things that I wanted to go over. A lot of this is going to be on the mindset side, because it doesn't matter how great of anything you've got, or you run into, or you stumble upon, or it lands in your lap. It is only going to do as well as you are prepared for it to do. And what do I mean by that? So I mean your mental thermostat, your personal development, your desires, what you expect. Because what you demand is what you currently have right now. If you don't have what you want, good chance is you aren't real clear on exactly what it is that you want. Maybe you've recently just identified what it is that you want. But if you don't deeply make sure that you feel like you deserve it, might not be that you don't, y'all got the desire thing down, but do you feel that you deserve to have it? If you don't feel like you deeply deserve it, I promise you, you won't have it. Or if you do, it won't be for very long. You will give it back. You'll sabotage yourself. You got to be, this whole thing comes around, and I really love this, and hearing this really got me moving, is blissful dissatisfaction. Blissful dissatisfaction. It's about being happy versus being fulfilled. People say all the time, money doesn't bring happiness. Actually, it does. I'm going to tell you, it does. Now, does it bring fulfillment? No. It won't fulfill you. It'll make you damn happy. When I sit in my Mercedes, it makes me happy. Does it fulfill me? Not like it used to. And that's where the material things won't fulfill you. Being a servant leader will fulfill you. But don't make any mistake about it. Money will absolutely make you happy. It has a very good way of doing that. Okay? So you need to be, to really get this clear, you got to be happy with yourself. You got to be happy who you are. But it doesn't mean that you don't desire for more. So you're dissatisfied. You're happy with what you have, but satisfaction is a different thing. A lot of people tell me, hey, you never satisfied. I'm not. I am never satisfied. If I am satisfied, it's for a very short period of time. Check mark in the box. We won the thing. Yay, high five. I immediately am on to, okay, that's done. What's the next thing? What are we going to hit for the next? Doesn't mean I'm not happy. I'll sit there. I'll glow in that for weeks on how happy I was that we accomplished that. But it doesn't mean I'm satisfied. Those are two separate concepts in my brain. And this really hit home when I heard this. And I really explored this today in my head. And that's why I've got so many notes that I wrote down that I wanted to share with you guys. So you can be happy with yourself. Let's say it a different way. You cannot be happy with yourself if you aren't being yourself. You cannot be happy with yourself if you are not being yourself. If you're not congruent with what's going on, chances are you're not happy. Now, another thing that comes into play that I thought was really interesting is you teach people how to treat you by what you allow. Other people might mistake that for being rude or a whole bunch of other things. It's simply, if you don't allow that to happen to you, then you won't allow that to happen to you. People keep doing it. A lot of times it's not because they were being malicious. They just didn't know any better. And so you got to make sure you teach people that. Now, you can teach them by being rude back. That's not usually the best. Sometimes it's necessary, depending on the situation, on how that became. But bottom line is, you got to make sure that you are being very clear on what you will allow in, what you will allow to occur to you. If you're not happy with what's going on around you, change it. But here's the deal. If you're at work, somebody's not respecting you, you don't do anything about it, they're probably going to keep doing it. Now, they're either being malicious or they didn't know any better. One way or the other, it doesn't matter. Same result. You're not happy with that. So you got to make sure you're happy with yourself, and also know that you're letting in what you're letting in. You got to take ownership of that. Now, understand there can be some, taking it to an extreme, there can be some bad situations. Even then, there are choices to be made. You are making that choice to allow that to continue. So make sure you are clear on that, because it all then boils into, you're going to get exactly what you think and feel you deserve. If you have a desire, but you don't see yourself having that thing that you desire, whatever that thing is, you're not going to get it, because you don't believe you deserve it. Now you believe that you deserve it. You demand of others that that is how they are going to act around you, and you get what you are looking for, and you're happy with yourself. Guess what? You won't be denied. So this is some Zen level stuff here, right? But make sure you apply this to your Kyani business as well. Apply it to everything. But if you don't get your mindset right on this, it's going to elude you. And I've probably made my biggest strides in the last 18 months in this category that has absolutely changed the trajectory of my life. It's literally just a matter of no more. This is what I desire. Be self-aware also to what you desire. A lot of times people are not crystal clear on what it is that they desire. You need to know what that is. You need to demand of others that that is allowed to happen, but you've got to truly believe that you are worthy of it. If you're not, you got to become self-aware of the fact that you're not. You can't spoof yourself on this one. It's got to be all or nothing. It's got to be all or it's nothing. Because you hedge, you pull back. You don't just keep on with it. You get stuck on the how am I going to make all that? I haven't figured out how to do it. So therefore, you start pulling back. You don't give it everything. Because if you're not deeply, deeply convinced that you deserve it, you'll sabotage yourself. You'll do little bitty things that you're not even aware of that happens. You've got to become aware of those things on one side, and the other, you got to go back to the source and say, do I truly, truly believe that I deserve that? If you have, bless you, Joanne, if you don't absolutely, see, that's the beauty. If I didn't have y'all on here, I'd just be talking to myself. I wouldn't have got to say that part. So this is great. If you're not deeply convinced of the fact that you deserve to have something, it starts with you. You're the creator of that. You're the builder of that. That terrorist shows up and just puts one little issue in your armor. Done. That's your Achilles heel. You've got to make sure you're constantly aware of those thoughts and make sure that they are congruent with where it is that you want to go. You've got to be deeply convinced of it. So therefore, you have to be very self-aware of what it is that you desire. If you don't have that figured out, you're going to just be floating out there in the river, out in the ocean, not getting to where you want to go. So to be able to do that, you've got to get to a point where you are vulnerable. You've got to risk it. You've got to risk what others are going to think. You've got to risk something to be able to put it out there, because in your head, you're going to have that thought, what if I don't make it? You're not deeply convinced. If you use the words, I hope this works, I'll try it, we'll see. That's not convinced. You're giving yourself an out. You're hedging. You're not deeply convinced. And when you're not deeply convinced, it doesn't happen. Doesn't mean you didn't desire it. Sounds good. Oh, that'd be so nice. One day, those are the words of not being deeply convinced. So is that vulnerable? Yeah. Is it taking a risk to say, I will, or I have done this? Wait, you've already reached it? I'm on that path. But you're not there yet. That's when you get in somebody's face and you have words with them. Because that little bitty seed that they sow in your brain, they're setting up shop in your head that you can't do it. And you let them. Be fierce about that. Be on the defense of that. Go on the offense if somebody's trying to plant that in your space. Don't let that happen. If you don't protect that, they will do it. It happens to every single one of us, and I would say that it happens more times than we're even possibly aware of. So to be able to be vulnerable and go all out on that means you have to have tremendous confidence in yourself. You have to have tremendous confidence in what you're doing, and you've got to take the risk, because if you don't go for that, you don't push for that, you're going to play small. And playing small is not what any of y'all desire. That's the thing that you settle for, is playing small after you start with the big crazy idea, and then you start paring it down so that it's realistic. You're trying to get it down to something that you're convinced of. It needs to be big, and you need to be convinced of it. Ooh, what you got there, Joanne? That looks like a diamond. I love it. And it's that simple. Hold that thing up every day. Now, when you're saying it, there's a big difference, and y'all have all done this. You've said something, and you know as you're saying it that you were absolutely full of crap when you were saying it. You don't believe it more than I'm sitting. I mean, you just knew, you can't even keep a straight face while you're saying it. So what you got to do on that is you start there. Most people do with that. It's like, I remember when I said $1 million a week, I'm like, holy crap, dude, that's just stupid. Are you kidding me? $1 million a week. But I continued on that, and it got to a point where, I'm deeply convinced. When that happened, oh my gosh, complete rearrangement of the universe around me. It's insane. You hear it all the time. All the books are written about it. We just overlook it and keep moving on looking for the next thing. It's already been written down in a whole bunch of different places. There's a whole bunch of very successful people that have said it, drew it out, wrote books about it. They're all saying the same thing. Think and Grow Rich. It's in the damn title. But you got to be deeply convinced of it. You got to be completely confident in it. That's going to maybe make you feel vulnerable. You'll take a risk. Because what will happen there is, if you're not completely vulnerable on that, is there a chance that other people aren't going to do what's necessary to be done to get you there? Absolutely. They're people. They're professionals at letting people down. That's what they do. It happens all the time. So a lot of times what will happen is you'll get going in your business, and you got a lot of momentum, a lot of people doing stuff. And then all of a sudden, somebody falls off. Somebody hits a tree, hits a pothole, blows a tire, whatever. They're not with the group. You look back, it's like, whoa, we lost Joey. Where's Joey? Oh, he had a thing. He had to go mow the lawn or something at 9:00 at night. I don't know. He got busy. And when that happens, we're worried that our team's going to let us down. And then our conviction goes down. We're not as convinced that we're going to be able to do it. As soon as that happens, the whole thing starts collapsing. It starts slowing down. One person doesn't show up, another person doesn't show up. That's going to happen. But if you allow that to set up shop in your head, the opportunity has not changed with what we do. The product has not changed. In fact, it's gotten better. The system is golden. It's like riding a bicycle. My Colton's trying to figure that whole thing out. He's got the going part, but he ain't got the brake part quite figured out. He thinks he's got to put his foot down and use his shoe for the brake pad. No, you just step on it. He hasn't got that whole part figured out. And before, he didn't quite get the pedaling part. So I get behind him and I would push him. And boy, he got to hold them handlebars. Boy, he's going, and then he's slowing down. He's slowing down, he's looking around, and then he finally just comes to a stop. And he's like, what the heck here? He's looking back and yelling for me, and I come up behind him, I give him another push, tell him to pedal. Now he doesn't know what the hell pedaling means, so he just holds on to the handlebars, and then he's going, and then he slows down, and then it stops again. What is that? That's momentum. There was effort being put in. But if the pedaling doesn't keep happening, the momentum slows down. What's neat is when you have momentum, you don't have to do as much work to keep that momentum if you have a good system. Once you're going, if you come to a complete standstill and you got to start again, it's really hard to get the pedals moving again. Once it's going, you don't have to do much to keep it going. Just push your foot on it every once in a while. So make sure if you're not got any momentum, yeah, it's going to be hard to push it again. It's going to be hard to get that sucker moving again. So you got two options: do it or don't. The number of times I've rebuilt my business is just staggering. But it doesn't matter. There is no stopping. And as I've gone through that, I've learned so much and refined so much. I can tell you right now, October, we were on gangbuster trajectory. And then about middle of the month, slowed down. And then at the end, it was like no pedaling going on in the last couple of days. It happens. Everybody's got different things going on. I got a kid coming up. Guess what? I'm not going to be pedaling as hard. Plain and simple. Some people got other teachers, all of a sudden, got to teach a different class. I had this thing on lockdown. Now all of a sudden, I got to learn a whole new curriculum. All those things. Might get sick. Somebody might pass away. Life's going to happen. Here's what everybody needs to understand. As long as the conviction of what you're going to do remains, stop worrying about the time part of it. All you're going to do is keep hedging, and you're going to keep starting that pedaling, and then you're going to stop pedaling, and it's going to slow down again. And if that happens, it happens. Who cares? Start pedaling again. If the desire is there, that's all that matters. I'm so certain that this bicycle works because I've seen it work hundreds of times. There is zero doubt. So when I put my kid on this bicycle and we give him a good start, but he doesn't keep pedaling with it, it's not going to work so well. The factory, you can have this conveyor belt running all day long. But if you ain't putting stuff on the conveyor belt, doesn't matter how great the factory is, if you ain't feeding it material, nothing's going to come out on the other end. It's not that we need to retool the factory. This is the other thing that happens so often. Oh, well, it didn't work in the first 13 seconds. We got to change it. And the older I get, the more I see that people give up way too fast before they truly have mastered something. It's that microwave mentality, that microwave popcorn mentality. This thing is to blame for a lot of it. You have the world at your fingertips. You've never had more power in your hand of knowledge. Anything you want in the world, you can get with this thing right here. I mean, just next to about anything on the planet, you can get right here. So if it doesn't show up in 2 days on my front porch from Amazon, I'm pissed. I'm like, seriously? I mean, how long does it take to get that thing from China to my front porch? I mean, come on. It's so stupid. And so that extrapolates because we get used to that and we expect everything is going to be that way. Those things will make you happy. Quick happiness. No fulfillment. Because just as soon as that thing lands on your front porch, you want something else on your front porch. The material stuff's awesome. Don't get me wrong. We got all kinds of fun material stuff. But it fades. It's not the thing that fulfills you. Get both. Keep going after both of those. The stress of doing this, because anything you do that you exude energy is going to be stressful on your body. You go work out, that's stressful to your muscles. It builds them stronger. If you're going to grow, you're going to go through stress. It's not going to be easy. If it was easy, there's nothing on the other side of it that's worth having. So as you go through that, doesn't mean it's physically hard, but there will be effort. There will be stress that's there. The stress of doing something that's small versus doing something that's big. I found the bigger stuff that I do, it's just as stressful as the little stuff. So you might as well do the big stuff. You get a much bigger payoff for the same amount of work and the same amount of stress. And then you got to calculate and figure out the lost potential. The settling. What's that cost you? What's that stress of never hitting the thing that you desired because you didn't think you deserved it? Get that clear. Spend time while we have a little break on Power Hour. Spend all your time on this. Get this clear, because if this gets clear, I know for a fact that the action and the activity will happen right after. But if you don't think you deserve it, then you start coming up with all sorts of reasons why you can't, why it's not working, why it didn't work, why you don't deserve it, why you can't figure it out. Everything you need is in the videos. There's a whole bunch of them. You can focus on just the Road to Jade, the last one that was done. I posted it out here recently. You can go subscribe to that and see that. Everything's in there. The whole process is there. And now here's the other thing. Just because I'm not going to be on Power Hour doesn't mean this thing stops working. It still works. I am always available. Now, it might be a little slower on my availability. It might take a little longer for me to get there, but that doesn't mean you stop reaching out. And we have so many leaders in this organization, and you know who they are. Reach out to them. They're here for you. Promise you. There's nobody that's not going to return your call. They might be busy. Respect that, but they will get back to you. I promise. You know who the servant leaders are. You know the people that got it figured out. So blissful dissatisfaction. Don't be satisfied on where you're at right now. Be happy with where you're at right now and know that you got yourself here. Take full ownership of that. So be happy, but don't be satisfied. Be happy, but know that happiness and fulfillment are two different things. A car is probably going to make you happy. It's not going to fulfill you. The happy is the short term. And you'll most likely need to go from one thing to the next to be happy about it. You can be the same person, but each action, each activity is a thing that can make you happy. But the fulfillment is the contributing to others, serving others. That's where fulfillment lies. That's what we do. That's why there's the light switch. It's about serving the other person, putting the spotlight on them. So don't hedge. Don't worry about maybe somebody who's got started with you is not with you anymore. Don't worry about that. In fact, better yet is go back to them and say, hey, just so you know, and we haven't talked for a little bit, I'm absolutely all in on this thing. We've got a system that is absolutely incredible. It's the easiest dang thing you've ever put your eyes on. It's only hard if you make it hard and screw it up and don't follow the system and try to do it your own way. You told me that X, Y, and Z was important to you when you got started. I want to check and make sure that is still important to you. And if so, I want to encourage you to get back in. But here's the deal. Whether you do or that you do not, I want you to know that in the big scheme of things, it will have no impact on me on whether I continue or not. See what they say. They might say, hey, good for you. Wish you all the best, because they don't believe in themselves on being able to make this work. Completely cool. Give up on this one like you gave up on everything else. Keep doing that until you finally get tired of it or you die. That's really kind of how it's going to go. But when you do that, you will be so convinced yourself. There will be no doubt. And you'll know exactly who you have to work with. You'll know exactly where you're at. And then you go work with those people. And you work with those people while they keep you busy. And if they don't, hey, guess what? There's 8 billion people on the planet. Go find a couple. I found 50 so far. It's worked out pretty good. Believe and feel that you deserve to go get 50 people yourself. Right now, Does everybody here, are they absolutely deeply convinced that they can sponsor 50 people in this business? Raise your hand. Cool. Good. If your hand didn't go up, get it there. Be honest with yourself, but get it there. Observe, be self-aware of why your hand didn't go up. What did you say to yourself? What did your terrorist say to you that kept your hand from going up? If you're sitting there and you're double checking yourself, go, I put my hand up, but I don't know if I really did. I don't know. If that's happening right now, that's cool. That's human. That's how it starts. But at least you put your hand up. That's a good start. Make sure your hand up goes up every day. Tell this to yourself every day. Have this speech with yourself every day. Be deeply convinced that you deserve to have what it is that you desire. If you don't, I promise you, it doesn't matter how good you are at Kyani. It doesn't matter how well you know this system. It doesn't matter how well you follow it. You're not going to get it. You must be absolutely crystal clear on it. Is this making sense to everybody? Cool. Heads are going up and down. All right. So let's use the next few minutes to go over some examples. Let's hear what you all have been doing. Or tell me, Casey, you know what? I haven't been doing what I need to be doing. I haven't been going through enough cycles. That was October. That's in the past. I'm reviewing the past so that I can learn from that. I'm not dwelling on it. I'm reviewing. I'm making adjustments. It's November 1st. Did I get where I wanted to be in October? If not, don't do the same thing in November. That'd be kind of stupid. Yeah, Vilma, what you got?
Well, I just want to just say what I've been doing. I've been doing a lot of personal development, and I mean a lot, because I'm usually in my car all day, and that's what I listen to. And just reaching out to people. I know I shouldn't be driving and texting, but like that's what I do. But usually I use the voice to text, so like I talk and they can just hear my recording. I'm reaching out to a lot of people, building those relationships, but especially like in other, not just here, I mean everywhere. So my goal is to one in Mexico City, in Chicago. I have Thailand and Poland. I just have people that I'm reaching out to, building that relationship with, and just working on customers right now. But I want to use that thing like what you were talking about, your last line, just reach out to the people that used to be in it and just say what you just said to say.
Cool. That's awesome.
That's all I can think of. But you know what I do? When I'm throughout the day, when there's always opportunities, I mean, I'm always talking to people, and I'm always wearing Kyani. I mean, I don't know if I should, but I do. And I'm just, like I said, just looking for opportunities like co-marketing. I do a lot of co-marketing. And anyway, that's what I do.
Cool.
Anyway.
Good. I appreciate you sharing. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. And we'll appreciate everything that you do.
Well, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that as well. Awesome.
Okay.
Good stuff, Elma. Thanks for your words on the chat session too. I appreciate it. All right. Who's got something they want to share, specific situation they've gone through? Betty, what you got?
Hi, can you hear me today?
I sure can. You got it figured out.
I did, thank you. I had a physical setback in October. I missed my goals, but I'm on track. But I have a question that's been irritating me for a long time on when we take a person and edify it to Jacob or you or David, then where do I go from there? Because they say we're supposed to keep in touch with our people and to have meetings and do whatever, but I'm visual and I don't understand from there how to.
You muted out right at the very end, Betty. You said you don't understand how, and then you clicked the button.
Okay, just hang on.
Now I got you. You're good.
Okay. Yep. So, and I don't know how to focus it all, so I know what to do for myself, as well as what happens when I pass it on edification, I pass it on to someone else.
Got it.
So I'm not
Good.
sure
Let me draw that out. That's a really good question. I appreciate you bringing that up. So let me draw this out for what Betty's talking about. So first, obviously we've got the. Hold on a second. I got some feedback going on. Got it. All right. So first off, following the process, we've got the why. What's the desire? She's got a list. She's talked to somebody. So she's got somebody's name. And then what did she do is she put the spotlight on them, had a conversation with them, found out what they're looking for, finds out that they are interested in wealth or health, and they check that box. She goes back to him and says, hey, what I heard you say was you're looking for better health and better wealth. Did I hear that right? They say yes. And then she says, great. Is that something that you want to fix? And they say, yes, it is. And so when she hears that, she weighs that, and that's the second step. So this is the light switch being turned on. And then that section's done, and then she does the weighing of them, and then she sees where they're at on the scale, and they want to fix it. Is that something you want to fix? Sure is. Great. Then what she does is she pulls the lever, and when she pulls that, it sends it in the factory from her workstation. So if we were looking at it on a bird's eye view, here's the factory floor. Here's Betty's workstation. Here's where the dump truck was. Here's the conveyor belt that goes through. And here's my workstation over here. So this is Betty. This is Casey. So when Betty gets done with these three steps, here, here, and here, she's done, and then she pulls the lever, and it goes along the conveyor belt to get to me. The way she does that is she's going to do a three-way introduction. She's going to say, hello, Joe. We had talked earlier. I wanted to introduce you to this guy. His name's Mr. Casey Salge. He's been on the cover of a couple magazines, blah, 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 blah. Copy and paste the introductory text. And then she's going to introduce Joe to me. Casey, this is Joe. Joe was working on my roof. He was sick and tired of climbing up on the roof in those hot summers. He's looking for something else. And on top of that, his back hurts from doing all that work. Now I know that he's interested in health and wealth. And you say, Casey, this is Joe. Joe, this is Casey. When that happens, it's left your workstation and it's traversing over to me. Now, along the way, that's kind of a long ways to get there. After you send that text message, sometimes Joe, who's moving along, maybe Joe's about right here. Here's Joe moving on the little conveyor belt. And all of a sudden, Joe does something and he falls off the conveyor belt. He doesn't reply to me. I get on. I say, hello, Joe. It's a pleasure to meet you. And then thank you, Betty, for the wonderful introduction. I appreciate it. Joe, tell me, what do you know about what we do so far, if anything? I send that text. Joe's nowhere to be seen. Joe fell off the conveyor belt. Betty's question is, what does she do after she introduces them to me? The one thing that Betty needs to do is make sure that Joe stays on that conveyor belt. She can do that a couple of ways. She can reach out to Joe and say, hey, Joe, it's been 48 hours since Mr. Salge reached out to you. You told me earlier that you need more money because you're tired of working on roofs and your back hurts from working on all those roofs. You told me you were serious about that. You told me that you would talk to the guy if I introduced you to him. You haven't responded to him after I asked all that because I didn't want to waste Mr. Salge's time. I want to check in with you and make sure you're okay because I was pretty darn certain that when we talked, you were pretty darn serious. What happened? Did you hit the lottery? Do you have all the money you need all of a sudden? Now, what's Joe going to reply? There's a billion different answers, most likely excuses on what happened. Not saying the excuse is a bad excuse. Maybe something happened. Maybe Joe's car actually did explode. Maybe Joe really did have to wash his hair last night for 7 hours and he couldn't get back to that text message. Chances are Joe's terrorist showed up because Joe doesn't believe and is deeply convinced that he deserves to do anything other than work on roofs for the rest of his life, and believes that that's just what he's going to have to settle for because that's just how it is. My back's got to hurt for the rest of my life. Chances are that's why Joe didn't get back, because Joe's terrorists got a hold of him. Your job is to reframe it with hope. Your job is to get back with hope and say, Joe, there was a very fleeting moment there where you believed, you saw hope, you saw that there might be a way out. Here's what probably happened, Joe. You started thinking about all the things that you've tried and failed in your life. But Joe, what's going to be different? Are you just throwing in the towel forever? Joe might say, yes, Betty, I am throwing in the towel. And he's going to not probably come out with those words because he's worried about what you think of him. And he's not able to be vulnerable to you because he is ruled by how he appears, how everybody else thinks of him. So he's not just going to come out and say that, but by his actions, you're going to see that. This is where you have to step in. This is where you have to right Joe, pick him up off of the floor over here and put him back on the conveyor belt so that he can make it over and actually respond to me. Because here's what I can guarantee you I'm not going to do. I am not going to call Joe. I am not going to beg to be talking to Joe. Joe's got to bring something to the table. I'm playing at a level that if you ain't bringing something to the table, I won't be honest with you, I ain't going to chase you. It is a waste of my time to do so. I need somebody that's hungry. I need somebody that's coachable. I need somebody that actually wants to achieve the things that they said they wanted to achieve. My goal is to get through all of the people that say that but don't mean it. And the way we know they don't mean it is that they don't follow through. That's not to say you just flush them down right away. Give it a shot. Check on them. Get them and right the ship and get them back on there. Check in with them. Say, hey, he reached out to you. Did you do what he said? Did you even reply to him? Maybe they get to that point and they reply to me and they say, hey, Casey, it's a pleasure to meet you. And to be honest with you, I don't know anything about what we're doing here. That better be the answer. Otherwise, you told them too much. Excuse me. And when they get to that point, I say, great, no problem. Would it be okay if I sent you a short video that explains what it is that we're doing here and how we came to be? Their response is going to either be yes or no. If it's no, cool. You weren't serious about fixing the thing. If that's the case, you might not have asked good enough questions to get truly deep down in here to find out what it is that they desire, to a point that they feel it, not just say it. Everybody you go ask anybody on the planet, hey, you want to be healthier? What are they going to say? Nah. Ask anybody on the planet, hey, you want more money? Nah. Nobody's going to say that, but they might as well be saying that because they ain't going to do anything about it because you haven't gotten deep enough to touch their soul to find out what they truly desire. You got to keep digging. If you find that when you get done with your step here and you're sending them around over to me and everybody keeps falling off, guess what? They probably didn't get placed on there correctly. That means you need to ask better questions. If you say, well, Casey, I'm reaching out to everybody. Everybody says they want more, but nobody gets on the phone with you. You didn't dig deep enough. You didn't find out enough about them. Will there be a lot that won't? Oh, absolutely. And now let me be clear on what I mean by you going through a lot. You go through 40 people and nobody wants to talk to me, you're doing it wrong. You go through 3 and they don't want to talk to me, that's what most people do. Oh, well, I tried this and it just doesn't work. You rode the bike 3 times and you didn't figure it out, and so you're throwing away the bike. Not the bike's fault. Betty, does that help? Yeah, I got you.
Okay. And so then they say yes. And then
They say yes, that they want to talk to me.
Yeah, and then how do I work with them, or what do I do to work with them, or how do what's the procedure after that? That's
After they
after they get expanded, and then how much do I work with them, and how much do you work with them, or where do I go from there?
So the simple answer to that is, if they're responding to me or to whoever you put them in touch with for your leader, if they're interacting, you stay out of it. If they don't do anything for 24 to 48 hours, you step in. You put them back on the platform. You put them back on the conveyor belt. You say, hey, I thought you wanted to talk to Casey. Now, if they say, I say hello to them. They say, hey, nice to meet you. Yes, sir. What you got going on? Blah, blah, blah. We're good. I'm going to do my part. Let me show you what one looks like. Let me pull one up here that I've done recently. Give me one quick second to find one. I'm pulling this on the fly, so bear with me one quick second. All right. All right, give me just a second to pull one up that I've done here recently. And then I want to get one more. Bear with me, folks. Okay, here we go. So here's an example. So Heather created this one. Orlando, I want to introduce you to the guy I was mentioning, Mr. Casey Salge. He's been on the cover of 2 Success from Home magazines. This is word for word. She copied and pasted. It's the same one that everybody should use. I'm going to put it in the chat session right now so that you can copy it. If you don't have it, you can go to the Power Hour page, and it's sitting there too. Make sure you change the name Orlando to whatever their name is. If their name's Orlando too, that would be a pretty good coincidence. And then I will always reply with something very, very similar. Hello, Orlando. It's a pleasure to meet you, and thank you, Heather, for the great introduction. I appreciate it. Tell me, Orlando, what do you know about what we are doing so far, if anything? Their response is almost always going to be something along the lines of, I don't have a clue. Please enlighten me. I'm open to new ideas and adventures. Hey, that's really positive. So it made it from Heather introducing us. She's the business partner. She's got it over to me with this message. And you'll notice that Heather doesn't send another message here at all. There was nothing for her to do. After she sent this, there was nothing else to do. I took it from there. I've got the ball. Now, if I would have sent this message here, hello, Orlando, it's a pleasure to meet you. What do you know about what we're doing so far, if anything? And it's crickets, nothing, no response for 24 to 48 hours. One of the things that I'll do is I'll look down here on the bottom right, and I'll look for 2 little circles here that says that it's been seen by whoever it is we sent it to. If we don't see the prospect's name, chances are they don't use Messenger. They don't even know they've got a message, or they're busy, or it hasn't been seen. Now, if the little circles underneath of that, if they've seen me send this, and I see a little circle right here with Orlando's name on it, and Orlando doesn't reply, do you think I'm going to go out of my way to reach out to Orlando and have a chat with him? No. My answer is piss off. I'm doing really well for myself. I got a big team. I'm changing lives. Orlando, if you don't even want to say hi, bye-bye. Don't let the door hit you. That's not my job to chase him, but it is your job to put him back on there if you care to. That's up to you. That's up to you and your desires and who Orlando is. Now, here's the deal. Orlando might have got real busy. Maybe Orlando saw that. The little scene by shows up, and then right then somebody ran into his house with a car, and he wasn't able to respond. So don't tell yourself a whole bunch of stories about why they didn't respond, but chances are it's because they weren't that interested is what happens probably 80% of the time. 20% of the time, there was a true issue or emergency or something came up. But regardless, it's just going to sit there. I'm not going to reach out to them unless I'm being feisty. It's your job to reach back out to them with love at that moment. If Orlando did not send this, and this was all blank from here, if all of this stuff down from here on down wasn't here, all that was gone, then it would be your job, Betty, to be able to jump back into this chat session and say, hey, Orlando, you said that you were interested in speaking with Mr. Salji. I've introduced you guys. Is everything okay? Or did you reach all your goals, dreams, hopes, and aspirations? Or however snarky you want to be or salty you want to be. I don't recommend you be too salty because who knows what they've got going on.
Right.
But you'll know the situation with the person. That's when you would jump in. Another example is they would say, nothing at all, please enlighten me. I'd say, awesome, let's do this. I've recently recorded a video that goes over the basic information and shares how this came about for me and my Army. If I send that video to you, would you like to take a look at it? A lot of times, nothing will happen after that. Their terrorist gets in their head and starts telling them, oh, this is probably this, that, or the other. You don't have time to do this, that, or the other. Blah, blah, all sorts of doubt and issues and terroristic thoughts come into their head on why they can't do something. And they gave up before they even saw it. That's 80, 70, 80% of the population right there. Your job is not to convince them. Your job is to see if there is a pulse on this walking zombie to see if they actually want to do something with their day. And if it happens to be one of the things we offer it to them. See if they want to participate and help that in their life. If they do, talk to the guy. If not, we're good. If they get to that point and they don't come back, you can step in at that point and say, hey, you mentioned and said hi to Mr. Salji. What happened on that? Did you want to take a look at? No, I really don't have time for any of that. No problem. This is a weeding out process. You don't want everybody. They're not wired for it. They're wired to be sheep. They're wired to get up, go punch a clock, sit in traffic, be told what to do, have everything in their life taken care of for them. The reason I know that that's a true statement is because they allow it to happen. Take ownership of that. If that's you, if that stung, if that sucks, fix it with what you desire. Now, Betty, continuing on this what if, let's say that, yeah, absolutely, they're pumped up. I'll go ahead and review it. What's the link? Great, let me get that for you. Here's the link. What is that? The I Know a Guy video. Let me know when you get done. Enjoy. They come back. Hey, watch the video, understand the concept. I've done several different companies, such as what this one advises. What else can you explain in your own words and help me properly answer all my questions? Great, I can do that by having you watch another video. I'm not going to get on the phone with this guy yet. I'm not going to waste that time and answer all the stuff. If he wants to figure this thing out, he can go do some research. There's a video that I did a presentation on. I'm weeding him out. I want to find out if I don't need to sit there and waste an hour of my time telling him the same thing that video is going to tell him. So he can look at that. Okay, when do you like to make that happen? Here's the link. Now, that was sent on Tuesday at 8:28 a.m. He saw it. It's now Thursday at 9 p.m. 60 hours later, pretty good chance he could have found one of those 60 hours to spend looking at this if he was truly serious. Maybe he looked at it. Maybe he didn't like it. He didn't reply back. I don't know. I'm not going to tell a story, but I'm sure not going to reach out to him. That's Heather's job. That's your job. You reach out to him and say, hey, did you have a chance? Because here's the deal. Guess how many of these I get on a daily basis? A lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. So I'm not going to keep up with all of the different people that I've chatted with. That's going to be up to you, Betty. That's where your part would come in to say, hey, Orlando, did you get that video? Did you get a chance to take a look at it? Because it's been more than 24 to 48 hours. I sure did. What did you like best? Oh, it's not really my thing. No problem. Good luck. Keep doing what you're doing. High five. Next. That's one. Do that with 20 people. Promise you, you do that with 20 people, you're a Jade. Promise you, if you take the 3 people that joined you to help you get to Jade, they go through 20 people and get them to this point, they'll be Jade. What does that make you, Pearl? 9 new people just joined. Those 9 people, guess what? They got 20. Go through that. Get them to this point. 3 of them going to join. Now you're Sapphire. Now you're driving a new car. Casey, you're oversimplifying it. No, I'm not. People don't have the staying power to do this for 20 times. I promise you, everybody that does ranks up. Plain simple. So that's the part, Betty, where you fill in. The leader's going to take the lead. They're going to talk. If the other person doesn't respond in 24 to 48 hours, you nudge it along. You reframe it back to what it is that they desired in the beginning. You must know what they desired in the beginning. If you don't get that figured out, if you don't know what checkbox they need checked, then all you're going to do is convince them into doing something. Does that make sense, Betty? What you got?
Yeah. Am I unmuted?
No, I hear you. I got you.
Okay. And then do I give them the plan on the page and say yes? And then do I work with them with their people on the
Not yet. No, what we're going to do is if they get through the process and they say, yep, I like this, I'm ready to do it, we will help get them enrolled into your business.
Okay.
Once we get them enrolled in your business, chances are Jake will be there with you to be able to do that, help get that done. And then once that's done, Jake is going to schedule a launch with that new person.
Okay.
And then what he's going to do is he's going to have them go to YouTube. Well, he's going to learn how to type first. And when he gets to YouTube, he's going to show them how to subscribe. Going to find my name. Going to click on it. Going to make sure they click the subscribe button. And then they're going to go to this right here, Betty, called the Jade Factory Launch.
Okay.
And they're going to share that with them and say, congratulations, welcome to the team. First thing that we need to do, now this is Jake telling this to your new person. First thing that we need to do is you need to watch this video. I just put it on the chat channel.
Okay.
And when you watch that, it's going to explain everything that we need to do. When will you be able to watch that? They're going to watch it. When they get done with that, there's going to be a plan on a page associated, and they're going to fill that out. And then what we're going to do is make sure they go through those steps, and you're going to continue to be there to encourage them and keep them on the path by constantly reminding them on why they got started.
Okay. Yep. Sounds great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Very good question. Mr. Pinso, what you got?
Good evening. Good evening.
Howdy.
Hey, I wanted to throw out another analogy for what you're saying. A lot of people who have never built a company before, most of you know my background. I've done it a few times. What Casey's explaining to you is what people like myself do. When someone decides to start a company, you may have a job right now that you're a secretary for, or you're a salesperson for, or an admin for, or whatever. You've got to remember that company did not always exist. Someone had an idea, a thought, a process, a product that they designed, an invention, and they started the ball rolling. And then they kept going. Okay, so, you're the official mail getter, toilet cleaner, salesperson, delivery person. It's a one-man band. That's where you guys are at right now. You are in your development stage of your organization. So as you keep it going, you're finding out what's needed and wanted. It's the same thing you do when you build any company. You find out what exactly is needed and wanted, and you deliver it to them. That's going to be your health for them, or a wealth issue, or a significance issue. So what he's showing you is you're doing your research and your due diligence. They're telling you what it is that they're focused on. You need to focus on what they are focused on, because if you try to switch gears, you're going to blow them out of the water. You got to remember, not everybody's going to be interested in buying your product or doing your thing. They've seen this before, even though they haven't. So I want you guys to understand that all empires and journeys start with a single step, and what you guys are going through and the battles and the issues is just all part of becoming better at what it is you're trying to do. You're going to have mistakes made. You're going to have people that's not going to do business with you. I've had lots of them that told me they didn't want to do business with me. Not just in Keani, but in all the stuff that I do. But guess what? I've had an awful lot of them that say, I like what you're doing. I want on board. What do I need to do? So I just wanted to make sure that you guys are comparing that. If you are punching a clock for somebody, they did the same thing that Casey is teaching you to do right now, only they went out and did it on their own and recruited you as an employee to help them get where they want to go. So you guys are in the same boat at the beginning of your journey, where they're just down the journey a little bit farther. So just wanted to put that analogy out there and let you guys look at it. Thanks, Case.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it every time you offer. I don't know if y'all know this or not, but Mr. Pinso is actually in the midst of writing a book he's been asked to do. So it's going to be pretty good stuff. He is absolutely on fire. I appreciate that. Spot on. All right, Betty, did that answer all your questions on that process there?
Yes, it did.
Cool. Very good. All right. Excellent.
I have a question, Casey.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, when do we put them, or how do we transfer them to the wellness inside and out? When is that done?
When you find out, when you're asking them questions, when the spotlight is on them and the answer back from them is that their health is the thing that is in need, you ask them if they want to fix that. They say yes. And at that point, you're going to say, well, let's do this. Instead of saying, I've got a guy, you can say that I've got some information I want to share with you. Would you be interested in taking it? And then you'll be able to move them over to that. Now, one of the things I'll do, I don't just go with that right away. That's my backup plan. My first plan is, if you're serious about fixing that, let's go ahead and get you this product. I just go straight for it. What's my ultimate goal? To get them to Wellness Simplified? Nope. My goal is to get some product down their throat. So I'm going to take the quickest, shortest route from point A to point B. I'm at point A. I want to get to point B. Sunrise going down their throat. I don't need to go to the other one unless they need it. And they'll tell me when I say, are you ready to get an order of this? It's a money-back guarantee. Try this stuff out. Let's see if it works for you. Then they're going to, they might start hemming and hawing around and say, oh, sounds like actually what you need is more information. You're not ready to make a buying decision just yet. You need more information. Yes, I do. Great. Let me get you on this Wellness Simplified page. Okay. So once you find out what it is that they desire, give it to them. Somebody's got a headache. They want their headache fixed. They don't really desire the aspirin. But unless you got some other way of fixing their headache, you can say, hey, you want to fix your headache? Yeah, I want to fix my headache. All right, I've got an aspirin. That'll fix it. Okay, I'll take it. Or they might say, no, I don't know enough about this white substance that you're giving me here. I'm going to need some more research on this. Let me look into it. Okay. I'm not the one with the headache. You decide what you need. I'm good. And I'll call people out on it. I say, oh, wait, you need more information? I thought you said you needed that problem to go away. Because a lot of times that's just their programming hitting in. Oh, well, I don't want to. And here's where it really. I don't want to look like I'm too easy or I'm stupid or I'm not doing my due diligence. You go find somebody that is that's dying of thirst out in the desert. Very few times do they go, well, is this Avion or is this mineral water? No, they're like, give me the damn water. Find out how serious they are.
This lady is, she has a disease that is incurable, and the doctors already told her that there will be nothing that they can do for her. So,
Now it's just a matter of, does she believe them or not?
yeah, well, I asked her, and I said, well, would you be interested if Mr. Kelsey would talk to you in a 3-way call? And of course, absolutely, she said no. And she said,
No, she didn't want to talk to me. Here's what she wants to do. Ask her, you know what? You didn't want to talk to Casey. That's fine. Do you want to try this product? She says no, then, hey, all right, let's go ahead. Let me go ahead and call the morgue. Let's go ahead and dig a hole and put you in it because you're just walking around. I mean, holy crap. And that might sound really harsh, and I'm completely fine with that. I am sick of jacking around with that type of attitude. Oh, you don't know what they're going through. I don't. All I know is I'm not going to ever give up. They will. That's fine. Finish it off, man. You're done. There's nothing else to do. I will always fight for it. I am never satisfied with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's her. I
That,
think she said, well,
that's what the river's for.
Yeah.
I hate to be just so blunt. I don't really hate to be that way. I love being that way. I should stop saying that. I'm being extremely blunt. That's what the river's for. They don't want to fix it. I'm sick and tired of dealing with that. The more time, huh? The more time you spend with that and feeding that mindset of somebody else and sitting there and just going on and on and on, cut the cord, man. There's 6 more people waiting on you and you're wasting time with them and they don't even want any help. They're out drowning. You've got a life preserver and they're like, no, I'm good. Don't keep trying to hint it to them. There's 6 more people drowning. There's somebody that wants it.
Okay, yeah, I get it. Okay.
Cool. I'm glad I painted a good picture there to get that one across.
And I'm the part of what Betty said too. I can't seem to ask the right questions, and all of a sudden I get, now what is my next question?
Yeah, don't make it about some script you got to share. Make it about them. That's the easiest thing I can tell you. Don't worry about a script. Worry about them.
Okay.
Find out if they want to fix it. If they do,
don't do it. Okay.
Yep.
That's it.
Cool.
Thanks.
Very good. Awesome. I think that was a good one to end on too. Very good. All right, everybody. I appreciate you all being on. We're going to call it a night. Make sure you tell everybody to go check a look at the YouTube channel for any of these while we're on a short hiatus. And then I will make an announcement when we get things rolling. I'll make it on Power Hour on the Messenger site. If you need anything, reach out to me, reach out to the whole group. Use Power Hour Messenger group to ask your questions. County Local, if you happen to be a part of that, ask your questions out there. And then if you need any help, reach out to any of the leaders, and we will see you guys on the other side. All right, everybody, I'm going to mute the line so y'all can say goodnight.
Thank you, Casey.
Thank you, Casey.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your help.
My pleasure.
Good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good night, everyone.
See
Good
y'all.
night.